Hello and welcome to another edition of the KAA show. This is a really interesting one for me because it's about excellence. And I've got two students here who are both at different parts of their journey. We've got one student who came to KAA, was here in year 13 and then left to go to university, which we'll talk more about. And we've got another student who's in year 10 currently who is showing great signs that he too will be going to university and making a great success of his life. So it's a really interesting podcast and show because we've got two separate people on the same paths but very different stages of the journey. So thank you so much. So I'm joined today by Tomi and Samarah. I feel like there should be a round of applause there, but we'll do that in our heads. Hi guys, welcome, thanks for joining. So the point of this podcast, we really want to sort of get to know some of the students and sort of what they've done to maybe succeed, or some pitfalls they've had, or just areas of their life and any advice they might have to current KA students. So I'm going to start with you, Samarah, because you are currently at university. And do you want to tell us sort of what you're doing at university and what that course entails, but also sort of how prestigious that course is?
So I'm currently reading philosophy, politics and economics at Oxford. And the reason why I picked the degree is because of the variety that it offers and the flexibility that it has. So obviously I'm studying 3 different disciplines and I have the option to pick as many modules in each as I like, giving me that flexibility to really tailor the degree to what my interests are. And that was the main reason why I picked it, because I just enjoy so many different areas of study and I just couldn't make a decision when
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you're sort of downplaying what you're doing because universities offer PPE, which is what you're doing. You're not only just doing philosophy, politics and economics in a university. You're doing politics, philosophy and economics at Oxford University, and that course has been taken by so many prime ministers of this country and MPs of this country. It's sort of seen as a course, as a way of getting into politics or into good positions. It's such a reputable course. How are you finding it?
I definitely found it very challenging at the beginning. It was a completely new place, new way of learning. So we actually have 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 sessions with our tutors individually. We have to do our work by ourselves. There's no lessons per se, so you just kind of get handed loads of reading and you have to figure it out. But it's a completely different way of learning, but once you get used to it, it's amazing the amount of work and content that you can cover in such a small time period.
Okay, so you use that word discipline there. So do you think that when you're at university you have to be more disciplined?
100%.
Do you think that being at KAA, did you start to implement any of those discipline skills earlier to prepare you for uni?
For sure. So especially with the subjects that I quite enjoyed, I started to pick up on different things or specific topics that came up in class, but maybe we didn't have time to cover in as much detail as I would have liked because it wasn't part of the curriculum, and understandably we have a whole class. So I'd go home and research it, find books to read, and I think that extra reading and putting in that extra work outside of the classroom really made a big difference when I was doing my interviews, when I was doing my applications, and even going into reading now for my degree. I have a basis and an understanding of different things. So
that's really interesting because that actually, as I've spoken to a lot of students who have left to go to university, and lots of them say that it wasn't so much that, obviously the lessons are important at school, but a lot of them have said it was the extracurricular stuff. It was the stuff outside of the classroom. It was the research they did outside of the classroom. It was doing a lesson, say for example, it was a history lesson on, I don't know, Elizabethan theatre, and then going home and researching Elizabethan theatre, going that extra mile shows that real discipline because no one asks you to do that. You have to do it yourself. So Tomi, over to you. You're looking here at Samarah, who is at university doing one of those famous courses in the UK. Do you want to go to university?
Yeah.
You do? And do you have your sights set on any particular course or anything?
Not necessarily, but I mean, I do want to do something specific, probably to do like sports, because obviously like I have lots of different like talents and lots of different hobbies I like to do, and I think that going to university obviously is a good opportunity to get prepared for life, but also just like it's the fact that you get to do like something very specific. Because obviously in school you do all the different subjects, but I'd want to go to university so I can focus on something that I really like enjoy doing.
Yeah, and you're at year 10 now, so you're about to start your GCSEs. What challenges are you finding at the moment? Because you're in year 10, obviously thinking about your first year of uni is quite a way. Well, you're 10, 11, 12, 13, it's 4 years away. And you're already thinking about university. So would you advise for other people, and it's also for you, Samarah, would you advise that if you're thinking about going to university in 4 years, would you say start thinking about it in year 10?
I would say start thinking about what you enjoy.
Yeah.
I think if you start thinking about university too soon, I think it just put a lot of pressure on you.
What does excellence look like if you want to get yourself into a position to be ready for uni?
I think excellence shouldn't be measured in like in a material way or kind of like through grades. I think it's more of a mindset and trying to find something that you enjoy, something that you have a passion for, and just being able to put the time and effort into it and giving it the respect that it deserves. If you have a passion, pursue it, whether that be academically, sports, music, whatever it is. I don't think you should feel pressure to get a degree from this university or get a high-paying job, one that's going to earn you, where you're going to earn 100k a year. I don't think that's necessarily excellence. I think it's just having that drive, having that discipline to pursue what you enjoy and what makes you happy.
Yeah, and I think the word there, you've used it again, discipline, and also taking enjoyment in what you do, and also going the extra mile in what you do. So Tomi, what are you finding difficult at the moment?
Yes, you kind of just like said it. It's just trying to fit everything that I do like into my timetable, trying to like make sure that I give everything equal attention and not, because obviously it's important to, like excel in your academic subjects, but also not to like fall into just, let me just forget about the stuff that I actually want to do and just focus on this. Because I think it's important to have, hobbies that, you can keep yourself like occupied with. And because if you're just at school and you're just thinking, I need to get a good grade in this, good grade in that, and not really enjoying yourself, then you lose motivation for just things in life. Motivation,
yeah. And I think, university is really important, but there'll be some people watching this who don't want to go to university, and university isn't the right thing for them. But I still think the things that you're describing, the discipline, the extracurricular, the commitment, the enjoyment, all those things would apply to people that want to do apprenticeships, who want to work. I don't think it's specific to universities. Go on, sorry.
I would like to say that I think especially in secondary and sixth form, you can feel a lot of pressure to figure out what you want to do. But I think that right now, this is the time to try so many different things. And it's just as important to find out what you don't like as to what you do like. So, and having had those experiences, being able to say, well, I tried this and I did it for 3 weeks and I didn't like it. So now you know that you don't like it, but apart from that, when you're having conversations with people, when someone asks you, have you tried this, have you done this, you can draw on those experiences and you're able to hold conversations with different people with different interests. And I think that's very, very valuable. And I think it's quite easy to just kind of try to find a little path and stick to it.
Yeah.
But I think this is the time to
So
try
sort of rather than fixate on one thing, if you're not, try lots of different things now. Discover what it is you're looking. Yeah, that's really interesting.
I think that's what universities and employers are looking for now as well, more than ever before. So
tell me more about that. So what you say universities are looking for that at the moment. What do you mean by that?
So for anyone that doesn't know, for Oxford, apart from your UCAS application, you then have to sit exams. But these are special exams. They're not the same ones that you sit for GCSEs or for A-levels. It's not specific content that they're testing you on. It's more about your critical thinking, your problem solving, and your ability to think outside the box. So I think having had different experiences is quite useful for that. And then also, if you pass that, then you might get invited for an interview. And if you have an interview, you'll just get asked very random questions. Some questions will have something to do with your degree, others will have nothing to do with your degree. I got asked about eggs and throwing them off a building. Really? Yeah.
You got asked about eggs and throwing it off a building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Right. So, Tomi, what would you say to year 10s? It's a tricky time. People are moving from 9 to 10. They started their GCSEs. You've managed to remain stable. You've managed to sort of focus on excellence. You've managed to get your head down and do other things. But there's some people that haven't done that. There's some year 10s that really aren't where you are. and there'll be people in year 9 watching this podcast, and there'll be people in year 7 watching it. What would you say to those people that are a little bit knocked off course? They're not quite where they need to be, they haven't quite matured yet, or they're being quite influenced by their friends. What would you say, because you must have seen this in your friendship groups or around the school, what would you say to those people that are not quite there yet?
I think I'd say like you need to focus a lot more on yourself and where you want to be. Like you should always ask yourself where you want to be in like 5-10 years. I know it's like thinking far ahead, but like the decisions you make now do like they affect what happens in the future. So I just think you should think a lot more about yourself and how your like actions will affect what you do in the future, and not think about oh, what are my friends doing, or what's this person, what's that person doing.
It's hard, right? It is hard.
Yeah.
You know, what would you say?
Really not the answer that you want to hear.
Well, I know your year group. You know, I was here back in the day, and I remember your year group. You know, there was people who were super focused, and there was those that, you know, but what would you say?
I think I completely agree with just having to take time to yourself and just reflect on where you see yourself, where do you want to see yourself, and the steps that you need to take in order to get there. But I do think that, you know, you're still quite young. It's good to maybe, because it's hard to strike a balance. You don't want to feel too much pressure to the point where it's going to inhibit your ability to do well, but then you also do want to take it seriously enough. So I don't think you should be thinking about sacrificing time, well, large amounts of time, not being able to socialize with friends or time with family, or not being able to do the sports that you want to do. I don't think that's the right thing. I think all those things are so important for the reasons that we said, so like being a well-rounded person, but also just to take a break so that then you can approach your studies a lot better and just figuring out who you are as a person. So yeah, I suppose it depends.
Yeah, I suppose the catchphrase there would be time and place.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have fun,
yeah,
have a laugh, you know, meet your friends, see your family, all those things. Like, you need to enjoy your life. You're young, you don't want to be sort of, you know, robot.
Exactly.
But it's time and place. So if you're in a lesson, that's not the time to be the clown and have all your fun, because actually you need that learning. So it's just picking your moments. Like, there's some students I know, they're so funny, like really funny, but it's knowing when to be funny and not to be funny. So we like in this podcast to end by asking our guests if they have any sort of tips or guidance or anything they could share with the whole KAA community, because this is watched by the KAA community and our millions of subscribers. So do you have anything that you can share with the other students that you've learned, like a little nugget of information or guidance or a tip?
I mean, it wouldn't be something that I've learned, but you know, just from personal experience, I'd say like you should definitely just do so much more outside of school. You should definitely like get into doing extracurricular stuff, because I mean, if I didn't like do an instrument outside of school, why never like played sports outside of school, there'd be so many opportunities that I have now that I wouldn't have before. So I'd definitely say like just get yourself involved in something apart from just your school life, because I mean it helps you personally as well. You know, it keeps you occupied. If you enjoy it, then it can really like boost your mental health and stuff like that. So you should definitely like get involved in something.
Nice. Rather than sort of just hanging around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A couple of things. The first one, you've probably all heard many times, and it's actually make the most out of it. It's going to fly by. I remember this so vividly, sitting in the first assembly in year 7 and having Mr Bernard tell us, these years are going to fly by, these 7 years. And I didn't believe it. I was like, this 7 years is more than half the life I've lived. What do you mean it's going to fly by? And it did. Oh God, I still can't believe I'm nearly done with the first year of uni. So I would say make the most out of it whilst you're here. And then also make the most out of the opportunities that KAA has to offer. All the enrichments, all the societies, all the events. Because when you come out of secondary or sixth form, you're, not to say you're competing, but at the end of the day, like you are. And you're going to realize that the access to resource that other people have had is beyond anything you can imagine at the moment. So make the most out of the opportunities that you do have. You gain a lot from them. You learn a lot about yourself from them. And finally, I would say be polite. Politeness gets you a very long way in life. you'd be surprised. Like just holding the door for people, saying good morning, thank you. You want to be that person that comes to mind when opportunities come by as well. For a person to think, oh yeah, they're not only are they a great student, they're also a very nice person who, if I invite somewhere, is going to represent me and represent who I work for in a good way. And you want those opportunities, as terrible as it sounds.
Yeah,
you want to leave a good impression on people, and it's going to help you in the long run.
That is such good advice from both of you. And that idea of saying you want to be the person that comes to their mind. I love that. I'm going to use that in assembly.
Thank you.
The idea that you're the person, right, we need someone to represent us. We need someone to go for that job. We've got this opportunity come up. Who comes to mind? Oh, that person comes to mind. Why? Because they're kind, polite, but also really hardworking. All those things. Be the person that comes to mind. It's like that. That's the thing we can put down along the bottom. Guys, fantastic. Thank you so much for coming. That's it from the KAA show. Make sure you tune in for the next episode. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. Thanks so much.